Hello and welcome to League Conquest 101. If you want to be the very best like no one ever was, or you just want to move up a tier, this video's for you. Climbing the ranked ladder doesn't require any extraordinary skill. Anyone can do it, given they have a willingness to learn and a desire to improve. This video will cover a wide variety of topics, so there should be something for everyone. From those who have never set sail upon the good ship ranked, to those who are furiously trying for season rewards. It's no secret that being toxic will not improve your chances of winning, so I won't labour the point. However, there's two particular flavours of BM that are particularly detrimental. The first is the missed ability BM. Most commonly, this BM is used after a missed ultimate, however it can apply to any missed ability. Imagine your Vulcan completely misses his ult. The worst possible thing anyone can do is highlight it. GG, our Vulcan couldn't even shake salt, let alone the earth. Your Vulcan probably already feels bad. The additional stress of your BM will ensure that he will be excessively apprehensive about using his ult in the future. You just went from having a Vulcan that hits his ult about 50% of the time to having one that hits it 0% of the time, because he's too scared to use it. The best thing you can do is say something along the lines of, "That was close, you nearly got a 4-man ult." Or say nothing and focus on your own game. If you're in the receiving end of this BM, just remember that you miss 100% of the shots you don't take. Go with your gut and don't be overly apprehensive. The second flavour of BM is Mr. Lobby Negativity. We've all encountered him. I hope you aren't all scrubs like I had in my last 7 games. All losses because of them. The only constant in this situation is the BMer himself. The worst possible thing you can do before a game is make your team hate each other. Let's talk about league anxiety. Do you feel apprehensive about joining the queue? Do you feel the need to play 100 casuals to warm up? Getting over this is simple. Just jump in. If you make ranked your main mode, all anxiety will go. Don't let anyone tell you there's any prerequisites to playing ranked. It's not an exclusive gentleman's club. The whole point of the system is to rank players based on their skill. Players of all skill levels are welcome and necessary. This doesn't mean you should never play casual ever again. If I'm on a lost streak or friends are online, casual's where you'll find me. I don't like the idea that games can be lost at the picks and bans stage. Just because it looks like the enemy has a better comp doesn't mean you should hit the bottle and lose all hope. Saying that, you want to maximise your chances of victory. Good picks definitely help your cause. The most important thing for you to do at this stage is respect pick order. Calling counts for nothing in League. This doesn't mean you can't discuss strengths and weaknesses with your team. It just means that if you're 4th pick, you accept your hand. Roughly 20% of the time you will be last pick. You need to know the support meta. This doesn't mean you can't have a main. It doesn't mean you can't be better at some roles over others. All it means is that you need to know the meta items and starting paths for all roles. You not getting your one favourite role should not guarantee a loss for your 4 teammates. If you're planning and swapping gods with a teammate, make sure everything is clear before the first lock-in. The next 3 topics are all going to be related to gameplay. I want to address some common mistakes that I see lose games again and again and again. If you're significantly behind, only fight over objectives. Don't just fight for the sake of fighting. Feel free to engage over nothing randomly in the jungle, only if you're ahead. It's like hitting your head off a wall. It wasn't good at first, and it only gets worse with time. If the enemy has Fire Giant, you must never give them a fair gentleman's fight out in the open. Let them dive. Don't worry about giving up towers. Mounting a last stand under Phoenix is often preferable to most of your team dying trying to defend a tier 2. Games are often thrown due to botched Phoenix dives, especially if the game is lengthy. A good pick when behind can completely turn the tables. Catching their Freya out of position can lead to a quick victory late game. However, you need to be sure that your pick is a pick. The only way you can be sure of this is by warding as much as you can. Suddenly that Freya with 4-man backup close behind doesn't seem like a pick at all. Next, I want to talk about situational play. Carrying and being carried. Many people say that in order to climb, you have to carry. but I think of equal importance is knowing how to let yourself be carried. In other words, don't be too heavy. Matchmaking throws together a varied bunch. You might be the highest elo player in your team against the lowest elo player in their team. In this case, the burden of carry is upon your shoulders. You need to consider that your teammates might be in the opposite situation. You mustn't fear a situation in which your laning foe is better than you. You should welcome it. Try your best to mitigate the damage they do to you and subsequently your team. You shouldn't try to make risky plays. Simply not feeding is often enough to secure victory in the long run. In a losing lane, your first instinct should not be to scream for a gank or blame the jungler. I often prefer to hold my own and let the jungler snowball another, more successful at that point in time, lane. However, I do ward as much as possible to ensure that conditions are as optimal for the jungler as possible if they do decide to gank. My last point is perhaps a little controversial. I'm a firm member of the Church of F7, especially when it comes to ranked. In general, surrender votes are less common in ranked than casual, however you still get those resigned to defeat after giving up first blood. In a world with ideal matchmaking, everyone should be about the 50% win-loss ratio. You have to ask yourself, do you enjoy playing this game only when you win? I often find a game where I make the enemy really work for their victory is just as satisfying as winning myself. In ranked, the importance of F7 cannot be downplayed. You learn so much more from a loss than you do from a victory. Don't be too hard on yourself when you're being critical of your play. Simply acknowledging misplays can reduce the likelihood of you making the same mistake in the future. I've been Plague Player, and that's enough of me for one day. I hope you've enjoyed the video. I'm sure you'll have a plentiful supply of season rewards and elo groupies in no time. If you have any climbing tips, whack them in the comments so we can all benefit. Till next time, VVGB.